So, dear friends, we will start our next panel. I want to introduce and please applaud these two very special persons, Andriy Yermak, Chief of Presidential Administration of President Zelensky. Hello. And Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and the supporter of Ukraine from the very beginning. Not only of the war, but even before. Dear friends, exactly in the corridor I was asked by journalists what is my impression or my feeling after 2 years of this full-scale war, Russian aggression against Ukraine. And of course it's difficult to find such very brief description, but in my opinion, first is something what is extremely impressive is Ukrainian heroism. Yes. What Ukraine did from the very beginning of the war is absolutely unbelievable. It's what we didn't expect, frankly speaking. Second, Putin is wrong. Putin is wrong speaking that Ukraine is not a state, that Ukraine is not a nation, because this war shows to all of us that Ukraine is a strong nation with very strong own identity. And secondly, Ukraine as a state works. If you've been in the train from Poland to Kyiv, you see that the infrastructure, the system of the state works with all these difficulties, with all these problems. Third is Europe, we helped, and we are helping Ukraine very much, but probably our problem is that everything is coming too late. That it should be earlier, but because of many reasons, it's not time to discuss all these reasons, we are with some delays. And this is the problem, why Ukraine cannot be so effective as could be. And final point is a peace. How we can imagine the peace, how we can see the end of this tragic war, how we can support on this way of peace Ukraine as much as we support Ukraine on this military road. So that is my introduction, and first question to the panelists is your impression. 2 years, we have a war, and Andriy, tell me what is your such deep feeling, what your heart speaks, not a politics, not an official statement, but what your heart speaks after 2 years of this war.
I try to be very short, and because today, the day it started in Gostomel, then the presidents meet with our today guests, the prime ministers and the presidents who is coming for this special day to Kyiv. And you know, the most important feelings that it's a very big proud for all Ukrainian nations, because all the people today said that nobody can imagine 2 years ago. Then it was very hard fighting, was in the Gostomel, especially in the airport, because this was strategically placed, and the Russians want to start the occupation of our capital. But 2 years, and our heroic nations continue to fight. And I'm absolutely sure that we will win. These are my feelings.
Thank you. Boris.
Well, I just want to say thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you, Andrew. Thank you to Victor for the conference and for inviting me. It is sad, in a way, of course, that we're here still in a situation where Ukrainians are having to fight for their lives and for their country 2 years after a criminal and barbaric and unnecessary invasion. It's very, very sad. But 2 years on, I'm more convinced than ever, as Andriy Yermak has just said, that Ukraine will win. And I think we underestimate continually what Ukraine has already done. As the head of the CIA said, 315,000 Russians killed, huge numbers of Russian tanks destroyed, 40% of the Russian GDP is now spent on defense, and yet Ukrainian exports are now back up to pre-war levels, thanks to what the Ukrainians have been able to do in the Black Sea and elsewhere. And, you know, I am lost in admiration for the heroism and the sacrifice of the Ukrainian armed forces. I think it's incredible. You are fighting for everybody. I wish one thing, which is that we could in the West accelerate our supply of munitions and give you the weapons now that you need. And I think that when we get our act together properly, and I believe that we will, you will win. Because in the end, Western industrial power is 25 or 30 times greater than that of Russia. And we will get you the wherewithal you need to do what you need to do to take back your country. And I just wish it were coming faster. And all I urge everybody is to have some strategic patience and some continence, because this is going to be, it's not going to be over quickly, but it will be over. And all I can say is that we need to do more, and we need to do it faster. And I just add one thing, which I think I said last time I was here: do not worry too much about what you think may happen in world politics, particularly in the United States of America. I do think that in the end, the United States, having exhausted all the available alternatives, will do the right thing. And I have no doubt about it. And I don't think it will be...
But Boris, you know...
And they're going through that process right now. They're going through that laborious process right now on Capitol Hill. But they will do the right thing. And I don't think it is going to be in the interest of any president of the United States who wants to make America great again to let Vladimir Putin win in Ukraine.
Yeah.
I really don't think that's true.
But Boris,
so I remain defiantly optimistic about.
But you
about
know
that
it,
aspect.
or you hope?
I just remember. I mean, you should hear more from Andriy than from me. But just remember who was the president who first gave the javelins to Ukraine, and yeah, I think there will be some attempt to do a deal. But frankly, we all know that there is no deal that can be done. And I think that what the United States will want to do is to close this thing down and get Ukraine, get the problem sorted, get it solved. And it's been caused by a chronic ambiguity about Ukraine's status. The way to fix that is to give Ukraine what you need to win, and you will win. You have the heart, you have the courage, you have the people, you need the wherewithal, and then get Ukraine into NATO. That's the answer. Get Ukraine into NATO and close this argument down. And again, the United States, having exhausted all the available alternatives, will do that.
Okay, you are optimist. That's good. Andriy, the question to you. Because we will speak about this next stages or the peace process, etc. But now you are on the top of the leadership of Ukraine now. What we, the world, what we, the West, should do from your perspective in this very short or medium term now? What kind of support is absolutely necessary for Ukraine to fight, to continue this heroic war?
Thank you. And I little bit added what Boris said. Yes, it's everything necessary to happen in time. How, for example, in time was your first visit in Ukraine? Historical visit that remember all Ukrainians. About what we need. We need weapons. Sometimes I think that just before each meetings in the different levels, in the top levels, the international officials, we already, because our team sometimes know better that have our partners, our friends, than they sometimes know. And what is the most important? We show to all the world that we are able not just to fight, we are able to win. What we need urgently the weapons, the ammunitions, air defense to protect our people, our towns, and our soldiers. And this is one thing which we need from you. All another we have in our people, their motivations, because we defended our lands. But this weapon we need now, because any delay, it's in political sense, it's some consultation, it's some talking, but in our sense, it's the lives of our people. And this is the most important things for what we are fighting. We are fighting for freedom, for independence, and for our people. This is we need. The concrete list, believe me, in the table of all world leaders, what we exactly need. And just we repeat it, we give in the papers, in the conversations, everybody know what we exactly need.
Well, seeing this list of necessary supplies for Ukraine, what is your opinion, your judgment? We are in the scale 0 to 10. We are on the position 7, 5, 3. Where we are in sense of our supplies, of our support for Ukraine?
Because now we have so special days today. It's very important, and we Ukrainians, we're very grateful, because it's absolutely unprecedented support and united of the nations for help to Ukraine. And this is the very important, and we never tire to say thank you for all your people of the all nations, because maybe before our war and these full-scale invasions, we heard that the people in the world change. The people, it's not same and not have this strong believing in the values of the freedom. But our fightings and this support show that the mostly people in the world in the side of the good and not in the side of the evil. As why we are so believe, because most important than the people of United States, the people of the Europe, the people of the around the world, they supported Ukraine, and this level of support that showed the meetings in the international conference and the visit of the President Zelensky around the world, we see that this support in the very high level. Where we are now, my opinion that we like if comparison the 100 meters of the running, we are past the 50%. And we really able to win. Mm-hmm. But this last 50%, the last 50%, it's more difficult. Yeah. And this is very important to keep strong for us and for our partners.
In the scale is 5.
Yeah. Yes.
5. Okay. The question to you, you will add something.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I've heard quite a lot recently is that what Ukraine needs is the ability to launch the deep range fire, to launch attacks, artillery against targets, for instance, in Crimea. And why on earth, or in the land bridge, to bisect the land bridge? And I have to ask myself, why on earth we in the West are not giving these ATACMS and other bits of kit that could do, frankly, so much to bring this thing to an end? Why is the Kerch Bridge still standing, if it is still standing? I mean, not much of it left, is there?
Okay.
But, blow it up! I've built loads of bridges in my time, but I want to blow this one up. Blow up the Kerch Bridge. I mean, you're the expert, Andriy. I think And what you get? What does the West get? This greater investment, it gets pushing Putin back. It strengthens the security of the whole area.
Right, and I understand you fully because I'm also former. And this is easy to say. But the question is, we are together, Andriy Yermak and Andres Rasmussen, they are co-chairman of this group of strategy guarantees for Ukraine. We are members. Boris and myself, we are in this group. And I think that is our common understanding that NATO membership is only and the best and only guarantee for Ukraine. But to you, the question is, you know these guys better as me because I finished earlier. How to do it? Do you think that this decision to accept Ukraine as a full member of NATO is possible, even if we will have still the war, or if we will have some kind of frozen conflict, we will have this complicated situation? How to do it? Because in my opinion, that is a crucial point.
Yes, but you're totally right, Mr. President, because at the moment there's a vicious circle. There's a problem, which is that if you say that Ukraine can't join NATO until the war is completely over, then you create a huge incentive for the aggressor to keep attacking and to keep the war going. So we have to find a way out of this bind. And I hope very much that the Washington summit will issue an invitation and that we can then begin to accelerate protections under Article 5, even if you can't go the whole way. And if you look at Article 5, it's clear that it doesn't. There are all sorts of things that we should be doing in addition to what we're doing now. And the argument against this is that it's provocative to Putin, right? Or it risks escalation. And I think this is what Washington is mainly worried about. And I just got to say, we've got to stop making this argument. It's rubbish. The way to prevent further escalation is to do much more to protect Ukraine and to show that we're serious. That's the way to peace. The way to peace, the way to stability, the way to long-term stability in the Euro-Atlantic area is to make it clear that Ukraine has chosen her destiny, its destiny, and it's with NATO and with the EU, and stop the confusion. And if you want peace, si vis pacem para bellum, as the guy said.
Well, I agree. I think that one of our mistakes from the very beginning was that we expected that Ukraine will play 0-0 game. That's to protect Ukraine only, not to attack, etc., etc. And that is impossible. That is wrong. If you are manager of football team and you will say to your players that they have to play 0-0, that finally they will lose. And the question today is how to understand and how to support with this NATO membership that Ukraine has to win, and we have to be part of this process. Andriy.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I'm very happy that my respect colleagues for the new group of the Mr. Rasmussen so strongly support, especially concrete results of the Washington summit, the invitations for Ukraine. Our position very strong and very clear. Yes, we think that only invitation, it will be really strong decisions of the anniversary summit in the Washington. And we really created, after successful experience, the Rasmussen of the group of the security guarantees, which now we can see as a result, we already have 4 agreements, the Great Britain, Germany, France, Denmark, and I am absolutely sure that very soon you can listen about a new, very strong agreements which Ukraine will have with our partners. Now we have more largest group. This our very experience and respect colleagues as a Secretary Clinton, as former presidents, prime ministers. I think that we have enough time to really create the atmosphere and participate in all international events before Washington, to really represent our positions, to give the real and very concrete arguments, because once again, only invitations. It will be real steps and real victory in this summit. I understand how it's difficult, but we are surprised this world a lot of times, I mean Ukraine, and we will continue to do it. And the answer for the skeptics who is sad about some escalations, because for us Ukrainians it sounds like very strange, because more escalations the world want to see than this war which we have every day, and we're living in this. But not give the invitation to Ukraine in the Washington summit, we think really give the new escalation. Escalation in the Middle East, escalation in other regions of our planet. Only invitations and only real concrete steps to the full membership of Ukraine will give the real chances to the world, to the Europe, to back to the security.
Absolutely. I think all of us, we agree, and that is my message to my colleagues from many countries, members of NATO. We have to do it. We have to do it because when we speak about the escalation, that is invitation for the escalation, in fact. That we are fear about the escalation. That is absolutely wrong approach. So that please, Americans, European colleagues, please support the political forces in your countries to open the doors pragmatically, correctly in Washington now, because we have no more time. And this war can escalate without our control.
I totally agree, and I'd love to ask you, President Kwasniewski, what and you're meant to be asking me, but I'll ask you, what you thought of that incredible interview that Putin gave when he didn't seem to know, he seemed to blame Poland for the outbreak of the Second World War.
No,
and he didn't seem to understand about the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. I mean, I thought
I tell you a long story.
It was truly
scary. In period 2000-2005, I met Putin more or less 20 times. And I know one thing. Of course, that was Putin number 1. Today, probably he's Putin number 5. He's a different Putin. But even in this time of Putin number 1, the knowledge about the history of this man was formed by KGB schools. And if you want to understand the KGB propaganda, everything is okay. Of course, Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact was in favor of the peace in the world. Poland was a main aggressor. Germany was, it's nothing to discuss, And the main problem with Putin today we have that still he is obsessed, I underline, obsessed, that Ukraine is not a state and Ukrainians are not a nation. How to say, I tell you last, because we have not enough time and we should speak about peace a little bit. And I tell you, I've been invited by President Kuchma. He was today here on the opening session. It was 10th anniversary of Ukrainian independence in this big hall. You know the name of this big hall. And it was very long ceremony, many hours, only in Ukrainian. And I was next to Putin. It was 2001. He was very young president. I was old president. I was a senior. He was a junior. It was quite nice. And after some hours, he asked me, "Do you understand?" I said, "Yes, I understand." "How many % of Ukrainian language do you understand?" I said, "More or less, 80, 90%. "And you?" He said, "I know more than 30%. And I think that is the answer. Putin understands 30% of Ukrainian problems only. And that is a lack of the knowledge, that is a lack of understanding.
And he understands only the languages of force.
Yeah, no, generally, that is not only to Ukraine, but that is his thinking. But that is the problem. He doesn't understand the reality and the history and the tradition and everything.
But no one in history has done more to disprove their own historical thesis.
Absolutely.
He's made himself look totally ridiculous.
If one day after this tragic war, somehow will publish a book about Ukrainian identity, among the fathers of the identity will be necessary to underline the role of Mr. Putin. That is paradoxical issue, but it will. Friends, 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Peace process. We have some attempts from your side. Last 2 years, we have the idea from Switzerland to organize peace conference soon. What is your opinion? How we can imagine this peace process first and the peace deal at the end of this process finally?
First of all, when after a lot of proposals during long period of time for some mediation, for something, the President Zelensky announced more than 1 year that one way of diplomacy, it's peaceful formula of President Zelensky, which he presented during the conference, the meetings in Bali. And now, after this period of time, I can say that we are really, this formula started be from the politic declarations for absolutely concrete plan. After 4 meetings in the level of the national security advisors and political directors, the last meeting in Davos, it was 82 countries. In that moment, it was the first meeting in one table. We can organize such country, a lot of countries from all continents, but Israel, the Middle East country, the Latin America, Africa, and many others. And now we are crossed, during the last meeting in Malta and Davos, we have the presentations, concrete presentations, as a result of the working group which we are created after Jeddah meetings. We are passed all the 10 presentations by each points. And now you're absolutely right, we have the decision between the presidents of Switzerland and President Zelensky for the organizing first inaugurated summit in the level of the leaders. Now we are working very hardly. Of course, for us, very important, we planning to invite for this first inaugurated summit more than 100 countries. Of course, we have great figures of the resolution of the General Assembly 143 of the last years. And we want that it will be large presentations, not just our partners, friends from G7, from NATO members, European Union, but also for us it's extremely important, Global South. And of course now we are working very closely with our partners from Brazil, from India, from South Africa, Saudi Arabia and China. I hope that this summit and we will be able, President Zelensky will be able to announce the date very soon. We're looking very positively for this, and I can say then we have started this job. And first meeting in Copenhagen, the percentage, because you like the compare the figures, the percentage of skeptical was...
I like it because the people will remember.
Yeah, 90%. Now the people who is believe, I think it's vice versa. 90% believe and absolutely see that it's a real way to back and what is a unique.
But but the pillar of these negotiations or these talks is the 10 points plan of President Zelensky.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But the goal in the results of these meetings, to have the common plan of responsible country in the world, who is respect international law in this chapter of United Nations and respect our independence, territorial integrity and sovereignty, to sitting in one table. And this is unique situation then country in the world not negotiate and not found this something under the table, informal negotiations, but very openly, absolutely based of the international law. Yes.
Very well, thank you. And Boris, shortly, how you imagine, how you see this peace agreement?
First of all, it's for the people of Ukraine to decide what type of peace, what type of negotiation, what type of outcome that they want. And I can't be more Ukrainian than and I can't, my Ukrainian, as you've just pointed out, Mr. President, is not that good. But I give three things that I think should be done to put Ukraine in the strongest possible position. Number one, give Ukraine the munitions that you need, the long-range fires. Number two, make it absolutely clear to the world, to Putin, to Ukraine, that Ukraine's destiny is in NATO and the European Union.
Right, applause.
And that's it. And number three, put the vice on Putin's fundamentals and take the 300 billion that is currently frozen in a bank account in Brussels.
For Ukraine.
The Belgians will get over it. They've got, they'll find a way through. We need to take that 300 billion, and I'm not saying that will will bring Putin to his knees. Of course it won't. But it's another part of the pressure. I don't think it's necessarily going to happen immediately, but peace will come, and for me, it's got to come on Ukrainian terms. And all I can say is that I know that people like me will back you for as long as it takes.
Thank you very much. So we finish our panel, and I want to say only one thing at the end. This fatigue, I know that Ukraine, they hate this word, but that is something what is quite objective. We have in many places in the world such feeling this war is long, is too many bad information, etc. But this conference is some element of such fight against this fatigue. We have to be with Ukrainians. We have to support Ukrainians. We have to understand that the victory is possible, and the peace agreement, the peace deal after that is possible as well. NATO
victory is inevitable.
Is inevitable, and that's the NATO membership is one of the main elements of that. And I see a lot of politicians, members of the parliament here. Please convey this message, this spirit from Kyiv. We have to continue our struggle. We have to win, and we have to organize better, peaceful world after this dramatic Russian aggression against Ukraine.
And if I may, several words. My recommendation for everybody in the world who is still think that it's possible to fatigue and please come to Ukraine, and you forget about this world and you started believe to our victory.
That's right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Andriy. Thank you, Boris. Thank you very much.